Hello guys, this is Ruben Raj and welcome back to Laravel tutorials. In my previous video I have shown how to make the routes in Laravel and how to bind models with the routes as a parameters, and in this video I am going to talk about CRUD operation. Basically in CRUD operation what we'll do is we'll create new record and we try to update the existing record and we try to delete the record and we'll try to read the records from the table and we try to show it in the user interface. So here I have a template which I have written before. I'm not going to show how to write this because it's just a simple form which I just grabbed from a Bootstrap website and I tweaked little bit to add some more fields according to the table which I have. And you can check out the customers table. In the customers table you can see there are a couple of fields here. What we are going to do is actually I'm going to show how to add new customer and how to update the existing customer and how to delete the customer from the table. And trust me guys, this is very simple in Laravel, and we can achieve this by writing a few lines of code. And here what I have is I have a route for customers, and what I am doing is here if someone tries to hit the URL slash customers, you can see here slash customers, and it will redirect them to this function show all customers in the customers controller, and I'll show what's going on there in the customers controller. So here in the customers controller what I am doing is I am fetching all the customers and I am passing the customers to the file called index php, and here I have three more files. Actually I have splitted this whole view into three parts. The first part is going to list all the customers from the table, and the second part is going to be a form, and it's gonna let the user to add new customers, and the third part is going to update customers. So in the third part user is going to give the customer ID, the existing customer ID. We can see it here, the ID, and they can provide the details that they want to update. And here I have three blade files, so which is nothing but the HTML file, and here you can see I have a list create update. So this list is going to be the table, and you can see here, so you can get this code from the GitHub and you can just go and you can check. It's really easy. And here what I'm doing is I'm just showing the table and with the customers details. Actually I'm passing this value from this controller function show all customers. Here I am passing the customers list of customers, and here I am looping through the customers and I'm just printing those values like ID, name, address, mobile number, age and type. So you can see here, and additionally I have one more column for deleting this customer. So far we didn't write any code for this deleting and adding new customers and updating. Actually this is what our plan today. We are going to do this. The first task would be we need to create the routes for creating a new customer and updating the existing customer and deleting the existing customer. So for that I'm going to register the routes in the web.php file, and I'm going to just copy paste this code. Actually this creation of new customer and updation of existing customer is going to be post request, so I'm going to make this request type as post. I'll just make this little bigger, and this is going to be delete is going to be a get request, and I'm going to extend the existing URL to create, and this is going to be update, and this is going to be delete. So we defined our routes the URL in the routes, and now we need to define the function which need to be executed if someone called this URL. So this is going to be create, and this is going to be update, and this is going to be delete. And we have tagged these URLs with the functions, but we haven't wrote these functions in the customer controller file, and we will we will create these functions one by one, and we will try to show the result in the application. And now I'm going to write the first function create in the customers controller, and it's going to be function create, and here I'm going to get the request from the the form, the request from the form. So here we have created the template. So whatever user enters here in the boxes, once the user submit the form, the whole bunch of parameters will be passed to this function under this request parameter. So we can get this we can get the name and all the attributes from this request. And before that, we need to create a object for our customer, and it's going to be customer is equal to new, because we are creating a new customer. Actually, we have this model class already in our project. Actually, I have created this customer model class in my previous video. If you don't know how to create this model class, you can check out my previous videos. And actually, I have created this customer object, and what I'm going to do is customer name. Actually, I am assigning the name of the customer from the request, the request name, because these the value which user going to enter here, we can retrieve the value using this request parameter, request object, and we can get the value like this. So how did I choose this value? The name for the parameter, you can just check it here. So here, if you see here, the input have the ID of name and the name of name, and you can see here address. It's going to be the ID is going to be address, and as well as the name is address. So if I want to get the address, what I'll do is I'll just change this name to address, and I'll assign this value to the customer address. I'll just close this. So I'll do this quickly for others. And this is going to be mobile number, and here it's going to be mobile number for customers, and this is going to be age, and this is also going to be age, and the last one is type. I missed Y, and this is also going to be type. So once we assigned all the values to the object, from the request to the real customer object, we need to save the customer customer, and we need to call this function called save. So once we call this function, what it will do is it will create a record customer in our customers table. So far there is only four records in my customers table. So if I add more customers, it will add the new customer in the customers table. So once we save the customer, we need to go back to the same screen. So we can use the function called back. So what it will do is once it to save the customer, it will go back to this previous URL. So that's what this back function will do. So now I'm going to check. I'm going to add a new customer. So I'm just going to keep it as a new customer, and address, maybe it's going to be India, and mobile number, let's say some random number, and the age is going to be 24, and the type of customer is going to be 1. So now I'm going to submit. So if I submit, this request will be redirected to this URL. Actually, I have defined it here. I can show it here. So you can if you see this form, so this form submit request is going to pass those parameters to this URL customer/create. So actually we have created the URI here, and we are passing the values, the form values, to the create function, and we have created the create function here, and it's going to save not save, before saving it will create a new customer object, and it will save, and it will return back to the same screen. Now I'm going to click submit, and we will check what's going to happen. So far there is only 4 parameters here, so 4 rows. So now I'm going to submit. It says creating a default object. it says yeah, actually the name is wrong here, sorry for that. I'll change this. So now I'm going to refresh the page again with the same form values. So you can see here the new value is added here, the new customer India and the phone number thing. And yeah, this is how you can add a new customer. And if I want to update the existing customer, I need to get the uh, ID of that customer so that I can update the existing customer. And also I'll show here the new customer. You can see here the new customer is created here. And now I'm going to update the customer. Let's say I'm going to give name for the new customer, means I'm going to change the update the name. So for that I'm going to use this form. And also I have these form details here. I think the name yeah, it's here. So here I have this whole bunch of form, so you can check this code from the GitHub. And here what I did is, if someone want to update the existing customer, once they submit, I'll pass all the values to this URL customer/update. But I think yes, what we did is I mean, in the beginning we have registered this URL in the web.php, create route post and customers update. And here we have a function called update, but we haven't implemented this function in the control file. So now we are going to implement the update function. And I'm going to create a function, and the function name is going to be update. And I have to inject these dependency to this function. So I get the request, and first, before updating the record, I need to find the customer from the table using the customer ID. So for that, what Eloquent do is, Eloquent have a function called find. So using that function we can find the customer record based on the ID. So how we can achieve that is, we can create an object for customer first. Here you can see, here we have created a new object for customer, but we are going to modify the existing customer, so we don't need to do this again. Instead, what we are going to do is, we are going to call this class customer, the model class. And we are going to call this find function from which is provided by Eloquent. And what we are going to do is, we are going to pass the ID. And here you can give any ID. The customer ID is going to be this one, 13457. You can pass any ID from this list. And you can get this ID using the request ID, because I have set the ID for this field as ID. So you can see here, so the ID is ID. If you keep some other name, you have to access the value using that name. So here I'm going to use request ID. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get the customer using this ID. And now I need to update the values. So for that, I'm going to just copy paste this code. It's going to be the same, but we need to do some small modification, because the users always do the users are not going to update all the values. For example, now I want to change only the new customer, and I don't want to update the remaining fields. And sometime I want to update the address, but I don't want to update other fields. So if we pass all the values, so this function, what will do is, it will get, for example, if I do I want to change the name of a customer 7, customer ID 7, from new customer to some name, random name. But here I'm not passing anything, because I don't want to change that values. So if I give submit, what this code will do is, it will assign the name, but what the remaining fields will do is, it will change the other values to null, because we are not passing anything. So we need to avoid that. So first, before assigning the value, what we need to do is, we need to check whether these fields have the value, the proper value. And if they have any value, we can assign. Otherwise, just leave it as just leave it with the old value. So I'm going to write the simple code for that. So it's easy, it's not a big deal. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to check whether the field is set using the isSet function, and if it's set, assign the new value, otherwise just keep the old value. So we will get the old value from the customer's object. So I'm going to do this. Sorry, I'm going to copy and paste it here, and this is just a simple ternary operator function, and I'm going to do the same thing for others. Just give me a second, guys. I'll just fix this. I just copy pasted the code from the previous lines, and I just changed the name of the attribute. So you can see here what I'm doing is I'm just checking whether the field you can see here whether the field is set using the isSet function. If it is set, you can just get the value, the new value, and update the new value with the old one. If not, just keep the old value. So that's simple. It's a kind of if else statement. I don't wanted to write if else statement for each thing, so I just used a ternary operator structure to fix this. So after storing all the values, not storing, after assigning all the values to the object, we are going to call the same function called save. So it will update the values in the existing record. So once we save this, we are going to return back. So return back is from here, from this URL we are submitting the values. So once it saved the values or updated the values, it will go back to the same URL. So that's what it means. So now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this customer name to David. So here I know the customer ID is 7 and customer ID is 7. So I'm going to give a new name called David, and I'm going to click submit. So you can see here the value from new customer is updated to David, and you can check it here. The customer name is updated to David. So far we have seen how to create a customer and how to update an existing customer, and how to list all the customers using the all function. And now the remaining task is we need to delete an existing customer. So here we have a button. It's not actually a button, it's a link, and you can see here this link is pointing to where. So here you can see here it's pointing to /customers /delete/7. So the 7 is the ID of this customer, and if you see the other links, it will show the corresponding customer IDs, so that we'll know that which customer we need to delete. And here what we have defined is we have defined only the customers and the delete, but we didn't define this ID. So I'll just quickly fix this. It's going to be a wildcard, and it's actually the number, whatever number you are passing here, it will store in this name in this variable called customer. If you didn't know how this route works, you can go and check out my routes video. I have explained how this parameter parameters are handled by the routes. And here I'm going to write a new function for delete, and it's going to be function, and the name of the function is delete. And I'll inject two dependencies here. The one is request, to check what all the things are coming inside the request, and the other thing is I need to pass the customer. So this is actually here what I'm doing is I'm binding the model from the route. So you can see here we will get the customer, the customer ID. So the Laravel, what it will do is it will automatically find that specific customer from the table, and it will assign the values here. So it's a kind of injection, dependency injection. So here once we get the customer, what we can do is we can just call the function delete to delete the customer from the table. And even this function is provided by Laravel Eloquent, and you can just call delete so that it will automatically delete the given customer from the table. So once the deletion process is finished, I want to go back, so I'm just going to call return back. So once we delete the customer, it will come back to the same URL. So I save this file, and what I'm going to do is I'm just refreshing the page. So now I want to delete these customer 7. So I'm going to just click this. So you can see here it's gone, it's deleted. If I want to delete let's say the fifth one, I'm going to click this, so it's deleted. So you can even check out here, it's deleted the value from the customers table. And this is how Eloquent functions, and the CRUD operation works in Laravel. And this is just a simple introduction to Eloquent. So this is two different simple functions from the Eloquent. You can see here all is a function from Eloquent, and find is a function from Eloquent, and here you can see delete, save. So there is all very basic functions you normally do, you can normally do with the Eloquents. And this is all for this video, guys. And yes, you can get the code, the HTML code from the GitHub, and you can try it in your machine. And if you got any queries or errors, you can just post those things in the comment box. And if you like this video, please give a thumbs up, and you can do subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching this video, guys.